There she is. There's Miss Caroline Sound. All
I could
right.
finally hear you.
Yay! Yes,
There
I saw
she
you.
is. There's Miss
Oh, let
Caroline
me
Sound.
pause the
Hi,
noise
Candice.
there. Hey, Elena. How are you?
Good, good, thank you.
Good, good, good. All right. I am popping out the chat here and we will get started. How was everybody's holiday? We had a good
Good.
holiday?
How are you?
You know what? This is why I don't leave the house because then I got the cooties. That's exactly what happened. I got the cooties because somebody was with me this weekend and had the cooties, but that's okay. I am popping out the chat and now I can, see the chat and see everybody here, here, here. I think we're ready to go. All right. So let's get to it. Hi, Grace. Grace is online on YouTube. Let me say hi to her. And we're off. I know we were enjoying doing the questions. So I figure we'll continue to do those questions and we'll work through all these exams because there's a whole bunch of them. Unless anybody has something that you want to, ask, of course you can at any time. Otherwise, we're just going to get right into it. So, number 45. And if I cough or whatnot, I'm sorry, guys, as I get over stupid cooties. Stupid cooties. All right. Which of the following instruments would contain the loan amount, interest rate, term of the loan, and monthly payments? We're on number 45 here. Number 45. Are you going to work pencil? Which of the following instruments would contain the loan amount, interest rate, term of the loan, and monthly payments? Anybody got a clue?
The note?
The note, and if you say it's the note, what does the note stand for? And Stacy, you said A. Okay, I see you. What the note is a note. What's the long word for note? The note is short
It's
for,
a promise
7%?
promissory note.
yeah,
Promissory not promise, but you're gonna pay back the loan.
a promissory note. Exactly. It is the promissory note. Because we know, and this would be the right answer, it's not the mortgage because that is the collateral document. If I spell it right, that just sets the house up as collateral for the loan. So either it's the deed of trust or it's the actual mortgage. And we know the deed transfers title. And we know a lease is a non-freehold estate. So that one's an easy one. We love when we get these easy questions on the exam. And if you get these easy questions on the exam, do not freak out. Be like, was this too easy? No, you just know what you're doing now. It's not that it's too easy. You've learned stuff. That's all. Let's see. A tax bill why can I not say that word? Computed by a cost per front foot is a what? A tax bill computed by a cost per front foot is A, personal property tax, B, special assessment, C, license, or D, use permit. Anybody got a clue?
I think it's a B special assessment
You think it's B, special use permit? All right. Why do you think it's B, special use permit?
because it's like a special assessment. I B special assessment. It's
Yeah.
because it's for like a sidewalk or like a for special like for a
Yeah. No,
utility like a for home.
that's what I'm thinking too. That, it's gonna be B. Sorry, I was just setting my computer up. Uh-oh. Ugh.
That makes
Stop
sense.
share. It was stopped sharing. So let's do this. And now you all just get to see me. And now let's share again.
I haven't heard of per front foot.
Ah, well, that's a good one to know. Per front foot means so we know the answer is B. Let's say you have a piece of land here And there's three different houses. House A, House B. Man, my houses really suck. All right. What they might do is decide to put in a sidewalk. Right? And what they'll do is they'll assess you. If this is the sidewalk and it's new, then this is your front foot, how wide it is. Your front foot just talks about, like, imagine instead of a sidewalk, it was water. That's water. That's a shark. Okay. All right. If that was water, how much of your lot faces the water or the street? So it would be a special assessment if they said, hey, for every front foot, you're going to have to pay for this much sidewalk. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yes, thank you.
Yay. All right. And number 47, using real property as collateral to secure a loan while retaining the property is called a mortgage, an encumbrance, hypothecation, or promissory intent.
C.
Look at y'all knowing my
See
favorite
how
word. Yep, hypothecation. Wait a minute, we had somebody. Danielle, you popped in to say you passed the California exam. What? That is
Yay.
amazing.
Good job, good job.
Good job.
Good job, good job.
G-double-O-D,
G-double-O-D, J-O-B, good job, good job.
Yay. And you know you get your...
My money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds. I like to see you wiggle wiggle.
There you
for
go.
sure.
Congratulations. I love it to hear
Yes.
that people passed. And I can't wait till everybody does it, Danielle. That is amazing. Love it so much. And all I would ask in return is tell people about this so that we have more people coming to the office hours. So I have a reason to continue doing this. But I'm so proud of you and I know you worked hard for it. So, oh, that's awesome. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, let's go to number 48. Dave Gates. Okay, weird. A widower died without leaving a will or other instruction. His surviving children receive ownership of his real estate holdings by, is it A, adverse possession, B, eminent domain, C, escheat, or D, the law of intestate succession?
D.
it's
I couldn't hear what you...
he died without leave. He died without
Without a will. Yep. It is D. Oh, now Grace, you said adverse possession, but adverse possession is that idea of ocean. Oh, that's not how you spell ocean. Adverse possession is the idea that if you have, let's go back to having two lots, two houses next to each other. And here's a house and here's a house. And let's say this second house, this blue house, decides to put up a fence and they cross over into the first yard. Then, 20 plus years later, so 20 plus years later, House A, if this is House A, says, hey, we need you to move your fence because we want to sell our house or we want to put up our own fence. House B can say, actually, this land right here that I've been using, if I can prove my use was open, continuous, exclusive, adverse, and notorious, then B gains ownership. That is ownership. That is adverse possession. And then I saw you said escheat. Escheat means if you die intestate, which is without a will, and you have no heirs, then it goes to the state. Then your property goes to the state. So our answer is, in fact, D, the law of intestate succession. Because we know it's not eminent domain, that's the government getting the property, and we know it's not the other ones. But I love that hopefully everybody knew, hey, these all have to do with transferring property. In fact, every single one of these would be involuntary transfers of property. Ah, Grace, you said that was a different question. That's okay. There is a delay. And you know what? I'm sure somebody needed to hear that review, so it doesn't matter. All right, number 49. In the event of default and foreclosure, which clause would require the lender to look only to the property for satisfaction of the debt? In the event of default and foreclosure, which clause would require the lender to look only to the property for satisfaction of the debt?
Not A.
Not A, because what does the defeasance clause say?
That once you pay off your loan, once you satisfy your debt, you'll get title to.
Candice is gonna be D,
Wait, hold that thought, Elena. Hold on
subordination.
one second. Hold on one second, Elena. What were you saying? I think that was Caroline.
No, it's Dina.
Okay, go for it, Dina.
I think, isn't it when you satisfy the debt on your loan that it means you will get full title to the house once you satisfy the debt?
Yes, means the bank needs to end any kind of title they have or any association they have with that title. They were using it as they were using it as collateral, but now that you've paid off the loan, it's no longer collateral. And I was laughing because Grace said, you know, when I get the question wrong, I can hear exactly how much you know because I explained why it's wrong. Well, you know, I'm hoping that you get to the point too where you can do it.
What
All
is
right.
B? Will you go over what B means again? I forget.
It is exculpatory. I don't even know what the word exculpatory is comes from. Exculpatory. I know it means like to, you know, I only know it in this. I don't think I've ever used it for anything besides this one thing. Exculpatory. I know, okay, how do I say this? I know it's the answer. It means, okay, you are exculpatory, I think means to like it's the only one. I think, you know what? I don't even know. I'm not even sitting here and lie to you. Let's look it up. I just know it on the meaning of as far as having done these questions. Exculpatory, like I think maybe we use the word when you're talking about like when you're gonna charge against somebody.
Oh, okay.
So,
I know I've heard of it. I know
yeah,
I've heard it.
I don't think it's a
I
word.
could look it up.
Exculpatory means anything that clears someone of blame or guilt.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I don't know why it would be called the exculpatory clause, but I just happen to know that's the answer because I've seen the word before.
Right.
So we know it's not a subordination clause, and I don't know what the cognivant. It sounds like something somebody would say. Cognivant, that's just the wrong answer. But let's see what the cognivant clause is. Cognivant clause. It is the contractual provision in which one party, the borrower, agrees to advance to allow the other party to enter a court judgment against them without a trial. So it is the power to allow somebody to put a judgment against you.
Okay,
Power
great.
to allow bank to put. So I guess instead of having to go to court, if you default, they can just go ahead and put a judgment on you for some reason. I don't know, but that's not the answer. That's not the answer. It's B. Okay. Let's go with 50. Gratuities for referring prospects to a broker are legal if paid to a salesperson affiliated with another firm, B, a relative of the buyer, C, a licensed broker, or D, a federal employee. Gratuities for referring prospects to a broker are legal if paid to a. So what do we mean by gratuities? Where do you see this word?
Uite așa, de acolo.
What'd you say, Elena?
One second, I think it's a licensed broker because it's legal. It's legal paying a licensed broker, not like to another like employee or something.
Yeah. I'm thinking it's C too, because gratuity, I always think of like when you go to the restaurant and it's the tip. So maybe I did an excellent job helping you find your, a home. Or in this case, it's for referring prospects. Well, in order to pay people, like to pay for a settlement service, anything having to do with settlements, RESPA says that would be a kickback.
Yeah.
That would be a kickback according to RESPA. So that's going to be no to the relative of a you know what I'm trying to say, to a relative. You can't give a kickback to a relative. You can't pay monies to a salesperson. It would need to go through their broker. And I don't care if you are a federal employee. You can't get a referral fee. It has to be another real estate broker. That's it. All right, 51. Which of the following is not a participant in the secondary mortgage market? Which of the following is not, and whenever you see this word, you should be like, uh-oh. That means three of these are true.
It's a RESPA.
All right, so you said B, RESPA. We got Fannie Mae,
Yes.
we got Ginnie Mae, we got FHLMC, which we know stands for Freddie Mac. Yeah. And what does Fannie Mae buy?
Everything.
Everything. Yeah.
Yep, Fannie is open for everybody. And Ginnie
Everyone.
Mae, yep, she buys government. She's got that champagne taste on a beer budget. And then Freddie Mac only buys conventional, bless his little heart, socks on, lights off, one position. You're never going to forget that. You all are going to be, 20 years talking about Fannie's open for everybody. And I'm okay with that. I am. As long as you pass the test, I'm okay with this. All right, 52. Significant provisions of the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act include all of the following except what? Significant provisions of the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act include all of the following except. So this is where we go. 3 of these will be, and 1 is false. We're looking for the false one. So A, the lender's estimate of settlement cost. B, a uniform settlement statement. C, a settlement location. Or D, a disclosure of controlled businesses. Anybody got a clue? Hey, Trix. Go ahead. Somebody said something.
Controlled businesses. I'm like, what is that? Controlled businesses.
Okay.
I think it's C, but I'm not sure what they mean by D.
All right. So you think it's C. We've got.
I'm thinking it's C.
I'm thinking it's C. We got another person. I think it's C. But the disclosure of a controlled business. My guess is that they mean affiliated businesses. So sometimes when you get into this business, if you go into sales, there'll be the company also owns a title company, or they also are related to a bank, and you have to disclose that. So that is what I'm guessing they mean, a controlled business. That's the only thing I can think of. So I'm going to go with C, but that's because I've not heard this idea of a controlled business in RESPA, but it would make sense because it does have to do with disclosure. I have never seen anything talking about where a settlement has to take place in anything from RESPA. So guys, again, I've not seen these questions before. I would go with C. Now, let's see if I'm right. Ha! I'm right. It is settlement location. I love it. Disclosure of controlled businesses. I have to think they mean affiliated businesses. Does that make sense to everybody? An affiliated business would be like oh, you know, like I said, the
Yeah.
real estate company also does the insurance or like the title insurance or regular insurance so that you know you're doing business with the same people. 53. Express covenants that protect the grantee are found in a express covenants that protect a grantee. Now, before I even read the answer choices, my brain said express means it had to be expressly stated or written. So I'm assuming in writing. So something in writing that protects the grantee. So the grantee is going to be the person receiving that. So
I think it's D because general relative D protects like it's the most protected.
yeah, because we know the quit claim deed, you don't get any type of covenants. And then the bargain and sale deed, it basically is saying, I'm giving it to you, but don't call me if something's wrong. I own it, but don't call me if something's wrong. The
It's
sheriff's
the only
deed
one that
is
makes
used.
sense.
Yeah, the sheriff's deed is used in a foreclosure, so has to be D. General warranty deed. I love it. All right. Number 54. An elderly property owner dies testate. What does testate mean?
She had a will.
Yep. With a will. In the will, oh, well, there you go. Care of the family pet is assured by conveying ownership in the property to a grandson who may occupy and enjoy the property so long as the pet lives. Upon the death of the pet, ownership passes to a designated charity. Which of the following is true in this situation? All right. So we're saying that you got person A, those are supposed to be legs.
I
That's
love B.
old man. And he's giving it to his family until the dog dies. I can't even begin to draw a dog, so I'll just draw a cat. Or a fox. I don't know what that is. So you said the son may replace the pet with another of the same breed?
No, I just thought that was funny. I said I like
I was
B.
like, yeah, that's not gonna work. I'd be like, no, I promise it's the same.
I
It's
think it's
stuff.
B.
All right, the charity acquired legal title on the death of the elderly property owner's death. No, the charity got equitable, well, not quite equitable title, but close to equitable title. They have a future interest. I think the better word for this is future interest. The life estate is a life tenancy per atri V. I like that because
I
it's
think
for
this
the
one
life
is the answer. I think this is
of
the
another.
answer because
D,
pure
the
ultra
son
is
has
like
a fee interest.
life for another.
Yeah, you know, um, I gotta say, I don't know if you can have a Poratri V with a pet.
Candice, I don't know, but the teacher explained like the pure ultra is the life of someone else's life, and I don't know. I think it's
Yes,
this
for the
the
life
answer.
of another. And I think the problem here is it says so long as. Because it says so long as, I think of a fee simple defeasible estate. And if it's a fee simple defeasible, then the son would have a fee interest. So the question is, can you do a life estate on a pet? Oof. I think I'd have to go with, I don't think I can go with C. I think I have to go with D. And I say that because I don't think you can have a life estate on a pet. And I think they said so long as the pet lives, if they said for the life of, I would think that it would be a life estate. But since it said so long as, I think it's going to be a D. I think the answer is going to be D, not C. However, I don't think this is a fair question. I don't know of any state that tells us whether or not we can have it. I mean, you're basing it off the life of a pet. If it was based off the life of a person, I mean, it would be a life estate, which is not a fee estate. I got to go with D. I don't know. Lucky pet. So I'm going to go with D. Let me take a look. Scroll, scroll, scroll. It is D, and they even pointed out the words so long as.
That's a hard one.
This was a hard one. It's this so long as instead of for the life of. I cannot believe that it would be this tricky on the test. I think too many people would get this wrong. I really do. But it's a good review of your defeasible estates versus your life estates. I just don't think you can give a life estate to a pet. Should we ask Uncle Ray? Mm-hmm.
So does that mean it's determinable or conditional?
So long as determinable, so it's for a duration of time, it would be, since it's so long as, it'd be a determinable.
Okay.
Anything that has to do with time. So I know in North Carolina, we like to study on if it goes automatically, it's determinable. If you have to go to court, it's conditional. But officially also, if the wording is about so long as, while, during, it would be, yeah.
Determinable.
Yeah. You said not too far from the random questions you get in testing. You know, I would be like, I don't even know. So long as. Yes. Until, while, during. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is right, but let's double check. Let's triple check what we got going on here. And let me do a search for defeasible, determinable. And this way you all can take a look at, no, stop, go away. This slide. Fee simple absolute. Yep. So the fee simple determinable, anything that has to do with duration of time, that's going to be your fee simple determinable. And if the words are, you know, but if, provided that, on the condition that, then it's a fee simple conditional.
Cool.
So hopefully that helps everybody. And right, Tricks, it is a lucky pet. Lucky pet. That's what I'm saying. I mean, you get a place to live. You're not going to the shelter or anything. But there we go. And now I'm very curious. Let's see what Uncle Ray says about can you give a life estate pour attribut to a pet? Let me turn them up so you all can hear. And hey, Uncle Ray, is it legal for me to create a life estate pour attribut, but make ownership of the property based on a pet's life, making the pet the measuring life, or is it illegal?
Hey, Candace. That's a pretty interesting question. And it definitely comes up sometimes in estate planning. So legally speaking, yes, it's actually possible in many jurisdictions to create what they call a life estate pour attribut based on a non-human measuring life like a pet. The key is that the law in your particular jurisdiction would have to allow it. And some places do. Basically, you can say, this property is held for as long as my dog Fluffy lives. And once Fluffy passes away, the estate ends or passes to someone else. It's not inherently illegal. It just depends on local laws and how your state handles life estates and pet trusts. In fact, some states have specific statutes about pet trusts and similar arrangements because people really love their fur babies. So if you're thinking about doing that, I'd say just check your state's property and estate laws, or maybe have a quick chat with an estate attorney to make sure everything lines up. But in principle, it's definitely a thing you can do.
Boy, Uncle Ray just knows everything. I don't even, okay. So it depends on the state. I learned something, y'all. And I guess the reason that they are saying the answer would be what it was is because of this word, as long as, instead of saying for the life of. Hmm. Interesting. Who knew? I guess the test did. Let's not do any math. Oh, speaking of math, I need you all to let me know. Just somebody email, each of you email me. Would it be better to do an evening math class or would have to be a Saturday or Sunday afternoon math class? So if you just email me, let me know what would be easier for you, and then I'll choose one. But I'm thinking not this week, but next week, either one of the evenings during the week, probably a Tuesday or Thursday, or it would be a Saturday or Sunday after 3. All right, 56. A representative with the full authority to bind the principal to all agreements is, and you should be like, ooh, full authority, all agreements. Is it an A, general agent, B, a literary agent, C, a special agent, or D, an accidental agent? Well, I was thinking universal agent, but that is not an option. Anybody? I just, in my head, I said E, universal agent. Anybody got any thoughts on this one? I don't think it's D. I swear it can't be C. And I feel like it can't be B, a literary agent. I mean, it kind of has to be A, even though I
Yeah.
don't feel it has to be A.
I
So
think
this, yeah, I mean, the answer is E. But I think we have to go with A because it's the best answer choice. The other ones can't be. And I'm looking. Yeah, even in their answer, it says a general agent has the power to act for most purposes on behalf of the principal. But then it says all right there. So I think it's weird. I'm going to go with A, but we all know the answer should be universal agent because they have full authority on all agreements. Okay, well, this is what, hey, you get what you get. Guess what happens when it's free. All right, 57. A cap rate is used in what type of appraisal? You said you bet LA has that. You know, a cap rate is used in what type of appraisal? Capitalization rate. Is it reproduction, income approach, tax assessment, or competitive market analysis? Which one uses a cap rate?
B.
Mm-hmm. How do we go from really hard questions to really easy questions? Yeah, B.
Yeah, that's what I was
Reproduction.
going to say.
Yeah, this has to do with cost, right? And that would be an exact replica, right? And tax assessment, no. And the CMA is based off of the sales comparison approach or the market data approach. All right. 58. Property managers often make management decisions about tenant selection and budgets for their clients. In these relationships, the property manager is acting as an A, special agent, B, power of attorney, C, independent contractor, or D, general agent.
D.
We got a B. You said B or D, Dina?
D, sorry, general agent.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, D.
It's a general agent because we know when we think property managers, we should always think general agent. Yeah, I think that was just a typo for that other problem. And it's not these. All right. Let's do 59 real quick. A house was purchased 5 years ago for $90,000. The area has generally appreciated for the annual rate of 2%. How much should the house sell for now? For now. Well, I would have just said 2% times 5 is 10%. So now the house is worth what it was originally plus 10% more. So it's worth 110% of what you originally paid for it. So 90,000 times 110% gives me 99,000. Our answer is B. 99,000. All right. So, Trix, I see you said D, but the answer, in fact, is B. And if you take a screenshot of this, Trix, or just remind me it's number 59, this can be one that I go over some more when I do the math, when I do a math session. So, yes, this is actually B. And for those in California, you're welcome that you don't have math on the test. All right, 60. The Sherman Antitrust Act prohibits real estate brokers from. The Sherman Antitrust Act prohibits real estate brokers from. Is it A, selling each other's listings, B, agreeing to set standard commission rates, C, advertising the amount of down payment needed on a property, or D, discriminating on the basis of race or religion? What do we have?
B.
Yeah, our answer is B. No. Now, Grace, you said A, but I don't know if you're saying A to 60 or 59. But it is not, it is B. Antitrust is all about, you cannot say there's a standard commission rate, a standard fee. It has to be a fair and open market. We want to sell other people's listings. That's why we have the MLS. This is a good thing, but not what we're looking for. Advertising the amount of down payment needed on a property, well, you can. It just triggers more information. So that is Regulation Z or TILA. Those kind of go hand in hand. And then we know D would be our fair housing laws. So Regulation Z, TILA, that is a law, but that's not what the Antitrust Act says. Grace, you said you always get that wrong. On 57? I don't remember what 57 was. Let me look back. Income approach, we can go over that. We can pick a day and go over that if you want. All right, 61. A type of lease that is common in retail properties requires the tenant to pay a portion of gross sales to the landlord. This is commonly referred to as a net lease, a sales lease, a percentage lease, or a gross lease.
Percentage.
Percentage lease. Because we know net lease means the tenant pays for like maintenance and etc. The gross lease, the landlord pays for all that stuff. The sales lease does not sound like anything I've ever known, and our answer is C, percentage lease. C, percentage lease. Got it. All right. Do you all feel, I feel like there's some that are really easy, but then there are just some really hard ones. And I love that. My hope is that every single one of y'all gets all really easy ones.
Me too.
But
Me too.
I'm also preparing you for the hard ones. All right. 62. And Trix and Grace, make sure you email me, because if it's easier for you to join in the Zoom room so that there's not a delay, you are more than welcome to do that. Which of the following listings is risky and open to fraudulent dealings? Which of the following listings is risky and open to
It's,
fraudulent dealings?
The net listing, because net listing is very risky.
Yes.
Sometimes you cannot.
Yeah. Net listings aren't even legal in some states. Right? But you know you have 100% chance of being tested on the difference between those three. You know that you have 100% chance of being tested on the difference, between open listings, an exclusive right to sell, and an exclusive agency. Remember, exclusive right to sell means it doesn't matter who finds the buyer. The broker who listed the property will get paid. An exclusive agency, if a buyer is found, 9 times out of 10, the broker will be paid. They just would not be paid if the seller was the person who obtained the buyer. So there's this little window where the listing broker might not get paid if the seller finds the buyer in exclusive agency. And I like to say less words, less chances of getting paid. Less
Can I ask you
chances
a
of getting paid.
question?
Yeah, go ahead, Dina.
It's less risky for the seller, not for the agent getting a commission or anything. I mean, I understand you might not get it if the price isn't right, but it's risky for the seller then.
You mean the net listing?
Well, you know how it says which of the following listings is risky and open to fraudulent? They're saying risky for the seller. Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
they're
sorry.
saying it's risky because it's risky for the seller and it's risky for the agent because they might perceive that you've done something wrong.
Okay, got it.
Because, the seller's going to say, hey, my minimum is, $450,000. But if you happen to sell it for, 510, all of a sudden they might feel like you didn't tell them it was worth 510, so
Oh,
that you
right.
could get a $60,000 commission.
Got it.
Right. So it's risky for both. I mean, it's just risky for a lot of people, for both people.
Makes sense.
All right. And Grace and Tricks, I know there's a little bit of a delay, or anybody on YouTube, but I am reading what you all are saying. So if you want to say, hey, can you go back? I can. And yes, Grace, there is the Zoom room. Because I know you show up all the time, email me and I'll go ahead. And here's my email. And once you have this Zoom link, all the Wednesdays and Fridays are always live in there. You can be live right there with me. All right, 63. In which appraisal approach is it necessary for the appraiser to estimate the value of the land separately? In which appraisal approach is it necessary for the appraiser to estimate the value of the land separately? Sales comparison approach, cost depreciation approach, income capitalization approach, or gross income multiplier?
I think it's A.
You think it's
What's
sales
an
comparison approach? Okay, we
Yes.
got one person for A. Anybody else?
I think it's B.
You think it's B? We got one person for B.
I
Cost
think
approach.
it's B too.
We got another person for B. Anybody else? And Grace said, I want to thank you in advance for doing this. I'm muscling through my cooties. Thank you. Stupid cooties. Stupid cooties.
Okay, I think also I'm just thinking about also cost depreciation. One like you depreciate the land and the building, and you
Yeah.
calculate separately.
You do
I think it's
separate
B.
it differently. So it's not A exactly. The cost depreciation approach. But remember, on the test, we never, ever, ever, ever depreciate land. I tell y'all, when I go to take my Michigan exam, if it's like depreciate the land, I'm going to have a crisis of, I'm going to be like, I might just flip the table. I might just up and be like, screw it. Because it's just a hard and fast rule. We don't depreciate land. So, yeah. Our answer is B. And we know the income approach and the gross income multiplier approach both have to do with the income approach. So we got the income approach, the cost approach, and then the sales comparison approach.
Candice, but also I now sell comparison approach. Also, it's like it's working with land, right?
Yes. Well, it's the only way to find the value of land. So even though you are in the cost approach, you're saying, here's the value of the land, and you use the sales comparison approach to do that. Then you have the depreciated value of the improvement, and you do that using the methods here, and then you add them together to get a final. I know it's a little weird and a little messy, but you know what? It'll be easier to show you if I do this cost approach. All right. So that would be, sorry for the scrolling. Here we go. Make that go away, make that go away. Here. So when you look at this here, you've got the cost approach. And the cost approach, you find the land value by using the sales comparison approach. Then you go down this line here to find the value of, whatever, however you depreciated it. And then you add the land value back up to get a total value. So yes, the only time we depreciate is in the cost approach, and you have to separate the land out from the improvement. So hopefully that helps. Grace said you get butterflies when you hear the numbers. You're not the only one. You are not the only one. I'm right there with you, girl. All right, 64. Mortgage insurance protects the borrower's family by paying off the loan in the case of a death. Must be nice, but that's not the right answer. B, lending institution against loss if the loan goes into default. C, the borrower in case of job loss or accident. Or D, veteran by allowing no down payment mortgage loans.
I think it's B. They
I agree.
protect.
Yep, it's B.
Yeah.
You all are geniuses. This would be awesome, but that's probably your life insurance. This also is awesome, but we call this AFLAC. AFLAC. And the veteran would be a VA loan. And this is why it's so important to know our vocab, because if you know your vocab, if you know the basics that we get tested on all the time, then you knew that B was the answer. You just knew. Good job, Trix. Yes. All right, 65. Nope, too many numbers. Yes, I said that. And 70, way too many numbers. But let me just jump ahead, because 68 is numbers, but everybody better get this one right. I just saw it, and I was like, oh, I know this one. An acre.
Maybe D?
Y'all, I hope if anybody gets this question,
It's
I want you
D.
to literally do a dance. Literally just start dancing in your chair and be like, hey, I got it right. I got it right. I mean, you just have to go. I mean, God, I hope I get that question on the exam. And how many feet in a mile? Just as a review.
So if 5, 2, 5, 8, something.
5280.
5280. 5 tomatoes. 5280 feet. Right? In a mile. Yes. A point's a point. Take it. Number 66. I see you dancing, Tricks. An abstract of title contains. An abstract of title contains A, the summary of a title search. B, an attorney's opinion of title, C, a registrar's certificate of title, or D, a quiet title lawsuit?
It's
Ooh,
A.
lots of
It's
titles.
A. It's a
Yes, it's
summer.
A.
Okay, you said, are you asking me or telling me that it's A?
It's
A for sure. A
It's
for
A
sure.
for sure. Yep. We know the abstract is a summary of everything, and then the chain is just the owners. Okay, that should not be possessive, but you get the point. There you go. Which of the following is not necessary in order for a property to have value? So what does a property, one of these, three of these is necessary. So three are necessary and one is not necessary. The property has to have a useful purpose. Somebody wants to own the property is unique, or the owner of the property is unknown. Does anybody remember? Does anybody remember what are essential elements like of value?
Is that
Yes. Yes.
It's dust, right?
yeah, demand, utility.
Demand, utility, scarcity, and transferability. So the property has a useful purpose, that's the U. Somebody wants to own the property, that's the D. The property is unique, that's the S. The owner of the property is unknown. Well, if you don't know who the owner is, how can the owner transfer it? So no, we got to have test. Oh, Grace, you said I taught you 7-Eleven. Yeah, she's saying, so Grace is a little behind there, but it's 7-Eleven in case that helps you all. Remember, 4 and 3 is 7. 5 and 6 is 11 for 43,560. So yes, our answer is D for 67. 68 is my favorite question ever. And 69. When offering property for cooperation through the multiple listing service, the listing broker is assuring all of the following except. You know what? This could not be on your exam anymore because the multiple listing service no longer promises that you'll be compensated. So this is, they can't, remember that's what that lawsuit was all about. You can put stuff in the MLS, but you as the buyer's agent have to figure out how you're going to get paid. So no. All right. 70, not feeling the math, not when I'm feeling the cooties. 71. The buyer has been held in the buyer has been held to be in default on the contract of sale. If the buyer and the seller had not agreed on liquidated damages, the seller could do which of the following? Sidebar, Grace said her kid is watching her and think he can do the classes and take the test in just a month. Yeah, right. Yep, you know what, Grace? Go ahead and let your son try it. Yeah. Go ahead and let try it. Now, I will say he might be a genius, in which case, great on him. But yeah, no. Tell him to go ahead. Go ahead and try it. Oh, that would be hilarious.
I'm gonna think it's a D. I don't know. Like for 71.
All right. So you could do which of the following. So 3 of those you can't do.
Because they agree like not to liquidate the damage. It's mean like the seller or the buyer can't like sue for like a specific.
By definition, liquidated damages are in the contract and you've already agreed, hey, if I default, here's what you're going to get. So this question is saying, if you didn't already go through and agree, what could the seller do if the buyer defaults?
It's
So
B, I think.
Okay, so you think it's B. Let's see. Obtain a court order preventing the buyer from purchasing another property. You cannot do that. You cannot say, hey, they can't purchase another property. That's not a thing. You could sue the buyer for compensatory damages. I like that one so far because compensatory damages are to compensate you for a loss. So buyer, if you breach and you caused me a loss, the courts might say, hey, you were in breach, buyer. You might need to compensate the seller. But they can't force you to not buy another property. Have the buyer incarcerate. We are not sending people to jail. There is no jail time for not buying the house. That's a no. Require the buyer to find a substitute purchaser. Again, good luck. You couldn't even find a substitute purchaser seller. So you couldn't find a purchaser. So come on. So that makes our answer B. All right. That's math. It's not hard math, but that's okay. 73. And we'll make this our last one of the day so I can go take some more medicine so I can breathe. Breathing is just, you don't ever miss it until you can't do it, right?
Yes, thank you again for doing this today, not feeling well. You could have totally
Yes,
canceled.
exactly.
No, you know what? I really enjoy, I enjoy doing this with you all. I really do. Please don't think, I appreciate it. And I'd just be laying there and I'd be like, I can't breathe. I would just be spending an hour talking, feeling like, why can't I breathe? This takes my mind off of it. I'm helping you all. So thank you for appreciating it. But yes, thank you for keeping my mind off of the fact that, it's just enough of one of those colds where you don't feel sick enough to not do anything. It's just irritating enough to be annoying.
Yep.
I hate these. And I'm pretty sure my dad gave it to me because he took me to lunch, to breakfast on Monday. Went to IHOP because that's our favorite. And he said, I think, he's like, if I sound like I have the sniffles, it's because I have the sniffles or allergies maybe. And then we proceeded to eat off each other's plate. And so I was thinking, how did I get sick? And then I remember, wait a minute, did I eat after my dad? Which I do all the time. And he said he had the sniffles.
That's
So I
right.
kind of deserve this one.
You got it from him.
I got it from him. I could make him feel bad and be like, you did this to me, bring me dinner. But just in case I didn't get it from him. I don't want to make him sick.
You don't want to make him responsible.
Yeah, I don't want to make him sick, and I enjoy it. I'm positive my father is never dying. But since I know that is actually not true, I like to enjoy every second I have. So. Number 73, last one of the day. Ownership of a property by only one person is known as, yes, I love these ones.
D. Several.
Yes, D, several
I think
T.
it's D.
Yes, because we know the word sever. And Trick said we're sharing love and germs. Yeah, sounds about like me and my daddy. Tenancy by the entirety is for married couples. And the remainder interest is when it goes to somebody, not the original grantor in a life estate. And the reversionary interest is when it reverts back to the original grantor in a life estate, making our answer D. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Like I said, Tricks and Grace, email me so you can make sure you get the Zoom. That way you're here with us and, you can answer. Of course, I don't mind, and I love the fact that you're there on YouTube, but that's true for anybody. Remember, you can email me to get the Zoom link. And Dina, you test this week?
No, on the 18th.
The 18th. Okay. I don't know why I was thinking the 8th, maybe. I don't know. But there you go. Grace
Thank
said
you,
you really
Candace.
enjoyed
I
all of our
feel better.
voices. Oh, thank you, Miss Caroline. And Grace said she enjoyed all of your voices and that being busy is better. I love it. Okay, guys, I will see you next time. Bye, everybody.
I thank you.
Thank you so